That intro was kind of cool, right? Well, I don't know. But, hey everyone, LeetSpeed here. Alright. Oh boy. I hate to start off me playing, well, not playing it for the first time, but doing a DN video on it finally, starting on a bit of a sour note, or a bittersweet note, if you will. Now, you might be asking, well, what is there to be bittersweet about? I mean, unless you've been living under a rock, there's a particular card in the archetype that has been recently introduced that, you know, it kind of, let's just say, it made things very bittersweet for long-term prophecy players. Now, I'm not like 100% long-term, like I've played the deck back then, like a bit back then, like not more than like the Mermail Atlanteans or like Madolche or Gusto, but you know, it's up there, kind of up there in the same space. In fact, with a lot of the decks that I've played back then, like these times took place before I started uploading Dueling Network videos. So with the Merlantian deck, I've technically played him for at least like maybe like 7 months or something at least. Like I remember having a great interest in the archetype already, and that was like maybe 8 months ago because of some people who were discussing the Mermail archetype and stuff like that. And you know, same could go with the prophecy. I mean, back then it was like they were called like the magicals or something like that. I mean, there was like the Spellbook magician. He was like magical calligrapher Batel, and then there was like the High Priestess. She was all like freaking magical priestess Junon or something like that. And then there was like the Spellbook Tower thingy bobber. It was like Spellbook Institute the Mason or whatever. It's like French or something. Like, I don't know, like I feel like it's kind of been like a common trend with the new decks, and mainly with this card, it isn't so much that this new card, Spellbook Judgment Day, this isn't really about whether or not it's broken. I mean, I don't think there's any way we're gonna be debating it. I don't think there's really any debate that it's broken. I mean, I think we can all kind of agree that in a way, despite if prophecy ever is still blah, if prophecy is still bad even with this card, we can still say it's broken. I mean, if you like read the card back then, or even the current translation it is right now, since you know it's released in Japan or whatever, then you'll know that the card is ridiculous if played right, pretty much. Because basically, what it basically allows you to do is that when you activate it, you play a bunch of spells. They don't have to be spell books. That's the worst part. They could be just any spells. It could be like Duality. It could be Upstart Goblin. Toon Table of Contents. Yes, I'm talking about Toon Table of Contents, okay? Seriously. It's insane. Now, Judgment Day lets you add spellbook spell cards from your deck to your hand up to the number of spells that you activated during the turn after, you know, Judgment Day was activated. So let's say you play three of them, 3 spells, and then at the end phase you get 3 spellbook spell cards from your deck to your hand, so that's pretty crazy already. Plus, you get to special summon 1 spellcaster type monster from your deck, whose level just happens to be equal to or less than the amount of spellbooks you added this way. So you could summon out Justice of Prophecy from your deck, use her effect because it's still the end phase, and you did use a spellbook spell card this turn, so you can go banish her, get a spellbook spell card to your hand, and get like High Priestess of Prophecy or any other light or dark spellcaster type monster that happens to be level 5 or higher. So that's a lot of shit that happened right there, right? Yeah, and again, this is not a debate on whether or not the card is broken. I mean, I think we can all agree it's broken, but here's the problem I have with this card. I think it's just like, now prophecy decks, now it's all gonna be on Divine Judgment, or Spellbook Judgment Day. I'm used to calling it Divine Judgment of the Spellbooks. Like that was like the original name for it. But it just promotes like reckless plays somewhat. I mean, if you play it right, then yeah, you can have like Spellbook of Wisdom to like protect. Like there were times where I would have, like I could summon High Priestess, summon Spellbook Magician, get the Divine Judgment, and then go activate Divine Judgment, play secrets, get Spellbook of the Master, activate Spellbook of the Master, reveal like another Spellbook in my hand, copy the Spellbook of Secrets that's in my graveyard, then I can get the Spellbook Tower, or if I already have the Spellbook Tower, I can get Spellbook of Wisdom, or I can get Spellbook of Fate for next turn. So basically, I have a High Priestess on the field and a Spellbook Magician. I have a bunch of spells ready to activate, and I can pretty much replace my hand with a fresh new hand of spell cards. Oh, and not to mention, when you have, like, if you have the Starhall too, and you just happen to be increasing her attack points, I mean, you might not think like 100 attack points really mean anything. Like, let me tell you, like, the counters rack up. Especially now that this card's out. I mean, the OCG doesn't have Spellbook Starhall yet, but I'm pretty sure they might abuse at least one copy of this card just because, hey, we can rack up counters on it every turn. Especially when we get a bajillion Spellbook spell cards from our deck to our hands. Nice, huh? And to be honest with you guys, the most fun part for me when it comes to playing that card is the bit with the Starhall. It's pretty much like, oh, how many spell counters can you rack up on 1 or 2 or 3 copies of each? How ginormous can you make your High Priestess of Prophecy and attack points? I mean, it's almost like a little game I like to try and do and stuff like that. And honestly, that's probably the only reason that I like Judgment Day, is just because, oh, it lets me get a bunch of spells, so now I can try to experiment with like Spellbook Starhalls and go, oh, how many counters can you rack up? I mean, can you say, let's rack up them spell counters, maybe we can have High Priestess without like Spellbook of Power or whatever, maybe we can have enough spell counters to make her have like 4,100 attack. I did this before. I did this once before, where I had 2 High Priestesses on the field, I had 2 Starhalls, and I was doing a bunch of shit, and then I ended up, their attack points happened to be 4,100 with, you know, I had the Spellbook Tower, and I have like a Wisdom set or something, I don't remember. It was insane. And it's just that I'm kind of mixed on this. I mean, again, I'm not like a long-term Prophecy player, but I've definitely played him in the past. I've definitely played him for a while, so I'm not new to the archetype or anything like that, but nor am I just hopping on the bandwagon because of Judgment Day. I just think it's like, does the card do too much? I mean, I know some people might, you know, defend the archetype and say, well, the deck needed like, they weren't doing all that well in YCS and stuff like that. They may top regionals here and there, but they're not like at the peak like Merlantians or Dino Rabbit or Fire Fist. I mean, that's true, but I don't know, like, was it necessary, the Judgment Day? I don't know, maybe it was. Maybe Judgment Day was what they needed to push themselves up to the big leagues. You know, the big leagues with Merlantians. Again, I'm not going to be defending Merlantians because, honestly, for as long as I played the deck, I think it's still pretty retarded. But the only reason that I don't have to feel so bad about it, especially when, you know, people are just, you know, catching on that, oh, cards like Abyss Diaz, Abyss Goon, and Abyss Lead, and Abyss Giles are amazing. I'm like, I thought they were great before Abyss Diaz even came out. I thought like they were pretty good. But the question is, like, would you invest so much on the field just to make Abyss Giles? You probably wouldn't. Not all the time. I mean, he was always there. I mean, I don't think people thought he was bad. I think it's just a matter of, well, why would I use up 2 of my Abyss Megalos to make him? You know what I mean? But the thing is, cards like Abyss Goon kind of mitigated this problem because you were able to go summon Abyss Megalo, but at the same time, you were able to bring back another Mermail. Abyss Goon was just insane and people didn't even look at her, so what does that mean? And I mean, that's how I kind of feel with Prophecy. I'm like, people really didn't look at Prophecy. I mean, you know, it looked pretty cool, it had some pretty cool tricks and stuff like that. They had a rank 7 exceeds, which was meh at best, but I mean, in this game, I happened to make him for like the first time in ages. But I mean, I've always kept them in the extra deck because you just never know. You never know when you make this guy. And while decks like Merlanians are just spamming and OTKing and stuff like that, I mean, at least with what I want to do with the deck, I like to experiment. I like trying out the new stuff. Remember I was talking about Mermail Oshabis? She does one specific job in the deck. She's not like overly broken. In fact, I think in the pure build, she's like amazing. Like, no joke. I know what you're thinking. Who plays the pure build? I did. I used to. Like when the new Mermails from Cosmo Blazer first came out in the OCG, and when they first appeared on Dueling Network, I mean, I tried out the new stuff. I mean, I was certainly not against that because despite what people thought would be standard or not, I mean, you know, I gave them a try. And, you know, if you play the pure build, it's pretty good. Now, with Prophecy, it's like people are now just, I mean, I don't know, I'm just kind of mixed on this card. I mean, I know people like Vexicus4666, you know, he's played the deck for a long time now. I mean, he was playing Agents, and then he started playing Prophecy. You know, he's been taken to regionals and stuff like that. And honestly, I got nothing against him for playing Prophecy or whatever. I mean, if it just wasn't for freaking Spellbook Judgment Day, I don't think they'd have as much hate as they have right now. And even if I've never played the archetype before, I would be like, wow, what the heck? What's all this crap about Spellbook Judgment Day? And that's been like the hugest buzz in the Lord of Tachyon Galaxy set besides like the Harpy Lady support before. I mean, geez, remember how insane people were about the Harpy support? Yikes. And it's kind of funny because my opponent was playing Harpies and my last Dueling Network video just happened to be about Harpies, so it's like, yeah, I don't know if it was destiny or not, but I don't know, like, I kind of want to know your guys' thoughts on this card. And if you guys are like long-term Prophecy players, if you've played them like pretty much every day of the week, you know, every week in, you know, the past months that they've been out. And I mean, I've tried out different stuff in Prophecy before. I even tried the Gagagas for like, you know, just some variation, but you know, just, it's whatever. But with the Spellbook Judgment Day, now I know that when it comes to like the TCG, it's gonna be like a secret rare for us, and it's gonna be like a highly sought after card, probably one of the most highly sought after cards in the game. And I think it's just that now you mainly have to focus on that card now. You can't really play much control. I mean, you kind of can, but it's like if your deck wants to run Judgment Day, you have to pretty much run a bunch of spells. You run some traps, but not a lot of traps, and not that many monsters, because you want to focus on getting to the spell cards and getting a lot of pluses. Now, that being said, isn't unbeatable? No, because there are cards like, there are decks like Dark World. They can sign in Epidemic Eradicator Virus. They can call spells, and it's pretty much GG. I mean, when you have a bunch of spells in your hand and they're all gone, what do you do? What are you going to do? Especially if you have a High Priestess in your hand. You can't summon her because you don't have any more spellbooks to reveal. Oh, Evil Swarms too. They got Evil Swarm Ophion that just locks off High Priestess. And if they have decent back row protecting him, you can't do anything. Because if you summon Justice, oh, they may use Bottomless, or they may have Solemn Warning. They might stop you. So it's like, it's not invincible, but it just creates this really odd game state that I don't like. And, you know, same goes with Merlantians too. It's just ridiculous. So let me know what you guys think, and talk to you later. Peace.